I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast, and we are founding members of the OddPods Media network. Have you seen these movies?
We're back, bitch.
The Big Wierzbowski.
All that and more.
All aboard the Nostromo.
Affirmative.
Super Media Bros.
I just thought about something. I'm surprised I've not seen any like Terminator Harley Davidson tie-ins. I feel like there may have been, but I don't know if there was one back then for this one.
I don't remember because they didn't really focus much on the motorcycle like in detail.
True, but he was always on one.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to episode 180 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
Cult Cinema Showdown 77. Probably the biggest one that we've done thus far. We know what you're thinking. How do two of the biggest movies of all time classify themselves under the banner of a cult classic? But because they fucking actually are.
And it's our podcast.
Suck it. Now, anybody that's listened to us for, the last 5 years knows our general disdain for James Cameron.
Well, let's put it this way. Current James Cameron, negative.
Right.
Pre-Titanic, he's okay. He's actually pretty good.
As far as we're concerned, Terminator 1 and 2 and Aliens are probably his best works. Now, the reason we're doing these two movies are considered to be, by a lot of counts, superior to their original counterparts, which it's all subjective, but it's the general consensus that both of these movies are superior in a way. Plus, it's the rare occasion that the sequels are arguably better than the first.
Yeah, I mean, that's a small percentage too, that the actual sequels surpass the original one. I mean, you can probably look at majority of the movies that we watched together combined, and there's very few that sequels are drastically better than the first one.
Yeah. So when you get down to it, Terminator 2 Judgment Day versus Aliens, like we've wanted to do this one for a while, and this is one of those matchups that we've put together where, on paper, how the fuck do you pick between the two of these?
Both these films have so much merit. It's going to be hard. I know that much.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to get into first?
We can do Terminator 2.
Let's do Terminator 2. Widely known as T2, which I think is the coolest fucking thing ever. Like a movie that gets so badass, it's like, no, we don't even have to refer to it by its whole name. You can just call it T2 and everybody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, in my opinion, for me, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like this is one of probably the most iconic action blockbuster that's ever been made.
I mean, it's definitely up there for me as like one of my top three.
I mean, obviously the first one as well, but this one in particular has weaved itself into popular culture for the last 30 years. It's been parodied so many fucking times in movies, television shows, cartoons, you name it. It's been done.
Right.
Now, this one brings back Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously, as a good guy version of the T-101, which I remember whenever I was a kid, this was the first one I saw. I didn't see the first one before this one. So I was used to him being like good guy.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the first one, it fucked with me.
Yeah.
Now, we get his T-1000 counterpart played by Robert Patrick,
who is a fantastic actor when it comes to him being a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he really is. Which, I mean, that says a lot, though. Like, the demeanor and everything is just on fucking point. Now, I don't think we're going to get too far as going from top to bottom on each of these movies because there's literally so much of it.
But also at the same time, everybody listening has probably seen these movies at least, I'd say 5 times. At least 5 times.
Yeah.
Because they're just that iconic and that well known in the industry. So I think a good way for us to approach these films is just to highlight parts of the film that we really fucking enjoyed.
Of course. Now, I did take extensive notes on Terminator 2 because this is the funny part, because usually like we watch like these movies beforehand. We really didn't need to because we've seen both of these so many times, but I actually sat down because I bought the 4K release of Terminator 2, and it actually came with the extended director's cut. They even had the alternate ending to it that was actually put in the film and not where you had to go to a special feature and click it and watch it.
Right.
Which I'll get to that later. But I know like you watched the version which is the theatrical cut, which is on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, I want to watch the extended cut because like some of the scenes are extended more.
Right.
And I actually highlighted
Yeah.
I was say I highlighted some of those. But now, like to go through the highlights of T2, obviously when he time travels, when he shows up naked,
And he walks through the bar, and literally every man in the bar is just mean mugging the shit out of him, and every woman is just like, oh,
it's because they feel inferior.
yeah. And then they look, and yeah, it's just the women are just gawking this man.
The Terminator and his Sperminator just walk into a bar.
But, you know, the iconic part, I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. Everybody in the bar laughs. Home dude puts a fucking cigar in his chest. He just looks down like, really?
Bitch.
And he just cleans house.
Dude, okay, what is the most painful part of that to watch? And to me, it's two parts. One, it's the dude getting tossed through the kitchen and onto that flat grill.
Yeah.
Two, it's the dude at the pool table that just gets that big ass retractable knife just stabbed into his left shoulder blade. And he's just like, oh, pull it out. Pull it out. And I'm sitting there like, no, fuck you, dude.
Y'all literally ganged up on me, so no.
No.
But,
Save me, super guy.
No.
You're a dick.
But he walks out, donned in his gear.
Bad to the bone.
Yep. I mean, just George Thorogood. I mean, the iconic song from that movie.
He puts the good in Thorogood.
Yeah. Bar owner pops up, refusing for him to leave with the man's stuff because, like, that's his property.
I love it. Can't let you take the man's wheels, son.
Yeah. Boy, Terminator just walks up, grabs that shotgun lightning fast, and he just, like, shit his pants. Like, oh, my God.
He shitted and farted a little.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Really, you saw the man. Well, you saw the robot literally just fucking clean a whole bar of people, and you're gonna sit there and threaten him with a shotgun?
Come on.
He took a fucking pool cue to the fucking back of the neck and didn't even flinch.
That's the thing too. I don't think anybody actually like punched him because they'd have found out real fast.
That he's nothing to fuck with.
He's T2 Tang.
Yeah,
He's the T2 Tang clan. He ain't nothing to fuck with.
but he takes off and we get introduced to
Fucking T1000 immediately.
yeah.
Now, that's one thing I do want to point out about this movie that I think kind of gets lost in translation. I want to say at the time that this came out, if you had seen the first one before this, they were, which in my opinion, I don't think they did a good enough job because Robert Patrick just feels menacing, like just his look and the way he speaks. But it seems like they were trying to say, we don't want you to know which one of these guys are here to protect and to kill until the mall sequence,
Mm-hmm.
which Robert Patrick just shows up T1000 and he just fucking punches that one police officer and just takes his shit.
And then we get introduced to John Connor, who's a little shit.
Yeah, he's hanging out with fucking Salute Your Shorts. What was it? Who did he play? Danny Cooksey. Was it Budnick? Yeah, he was Budnick. Bobby Budnick.
Yeah.
Bobby Butt Dick.
But yeah, at this point, you know, John's been through the foster system. He's with foster parents. He's an asshole because, you know, he doesn't care. His mom's fucking locked up in a psych ward.
Yeah, because apparently she according to him, he's like, oh, she tried to blow up some like factory or some shit, which they don't really. Okay, so this is the confusing part. It had to have been a separate time that happened because she drives off to Mexico at the end of the first one after the whole incident at that laboratory whenever the original model T101 chased her and Kyle through the fucking factory and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a subplot of this one is that Cyberdyne Systems, which is introduced formally in this, has covered this up.
Right.
Sarah is in the psych ward, like we mentioned earlier. She's in the fucking psych ward, and she's buffing this one, dude.
Yeah.
She looks like a fucking, but she looks fucking psycho, too. That's what's funny when she just turns around. She's like, Dr. Silverman, how's the knee? She stabbed me with a pin last week. That dude deserved to be stabbed with a fucking pin.
Honestly, a lot of those people deserved a lot of that shit.
Yeah, they really do. Because like in the director's cut of this, there's the sequence where he's leading that team of analysts or doctors or whatever to her cell, and he's explaining what's going on. But whenever he looks in there and he looks at the orderlies and he's telling them something, usually in the theatrical cut, it just cuts to a different scene. But like right there, it keeps going. And the two orderlies actually go in and like physically assault her, and like they cattle prod her and they shove like her medicine down her throat, and like she's being tortured and fucked with here.
But they're justifying it for the fact that she's tried to escape so many times and she's a threat. So they just want to fuck with her, being that she's restrained and all this other shit.
Right. So you kind of have the layout of all these characters that are going to be the main players of the film. Oh, the foster parents too, because, you know, John is just like, you know, he eventually tells his stepdad, he's just like, oh, she's not my mother, Todd. He's a lot like his mom.
Yeah. But he's got that teen hormones kicking in. So
right.
He's going to be rebellious as fuck.
We get to the mall sequence where obviously the T-1000 has been looking for John. And there's the whole arcade sequence where he sneaks out and he goes to that back room because at the same time that the Model T-101 has entered with a box of roses. And this is that sequence we were talking about where they go into that back kind of corridor in the mall. The poor bastard with the fucking Pepsi.
I know. Like, that was just a waste of a good Pepsi, man.
We're not sponsored, but we're totally drinking Pepsi right now.
Mm-hmm. But I had to mention, like, him walking with the rose box. I mean, that's iconic as hell, too, because literally the sequence where they're in that corridor and he just pulls the fucking shotgun out of the box and slowly puts it in place. And you see John just, like, he's shit, like, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah, and then it's the shot, I think, when he's walking and the roses are falling and he just crunches and, like, he's stepping on them as he's walking.
Mm-hmm.
And they both, like the T-1000 and the T-101, round their respective corners at the same time, and they both point. It's at that moment when you figure out, okay, T-101 is a good guy, get down, and then just blast. And I have to imagine for anybody that watched this movie, and because you got to think, when this movie came out, there wasn't any social media, there wasn't anything to give away that Schwarzenegger was going to be the good guy.
Right.
So you've had to think, anybody that went into this movie blind that thought he was coming back to play the villain had to have shat their fucking pants and be like, holy shit, Arnold's a good guy in this one.
Yeah, it's a plot twist.
So I have to give it some credit there. You know, retroactively give it a lot of credit there.
Right.
But let's talk about when they fight through the mall, he throws him out that glass window. It's a clear reference to the first one he gets tossed out of the Tech Noir.
Mm-hmm.
Then also the other iconic shit. There's a lot of iconic shots in both these movies. Me and you were talking about when he just chases John on foot when he's trying to get away on his dirt bike.
Guys, Robert Patrick is menacing already as is. But I don't know what is more terrifying, him walking or him fucking running full sprint. Because damn, dude, that dude is fucking quick. You can't escape him. You can't escape the T-1000 like 90% of the time. You're sitting there shitting your pants when he's coming at you like, you know, mall walker speed. And then he takes on like a full sprint and he's catching up with you on a fucking dirt bike.
Fuck that shit. Dude, okay, so I did write this down because when he is still running after him, there's this dude that gets cut off by John on the dirt bike in the 18-wheeler. And there's a shot inside of the cab of this dude, like, shit. He's trying to, like, you know, switch gears and everything. But what makes me laugh is when he's like, ah, shit. And he looks down, the door immediately opens and the T-1000 just right out of the truck. I had to laugh at that because it's almost like the dude driving is the stunt guy, obviously. And he's just like, shit, I got to take this fall again.
What take is this?
Oh, fucking take 1000.
That's a Kubrick amount of takes right there.
I know, right?
Jesus Christ, 1,000 takes?
Yeah, this is the T-1000th take.
But yet another iconic scene is the fucking chase on the waterway, I guess you can call it, the empty part of it, I guess you can call it. But that 18-wheeler chasing John, and he finally gets to a point where he stops and it's like, okay, it's not following me anymore. And you just see out of nowhere that fucking 18-wheeler just plow through the barricade on that bridge on one of them and just falls down and you. Okay, at that point, if I saw that thing fly in the air, I would have taken off before that point. But no, he sat there and waited for it to land and just goes, okay, now I go.
During that whole sequence, 101 is, you know, trying to pursue them on the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things to point out. One, when the T-1000 shaves a little bit off the top of that truck, It was so funny to me as a child. I always, everybody out there listening is probably gonna be like, you're a fucking idiot. When I was a kid and that happened, I was like, wow, the truck got faster.
Yeah, aerodynamic.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, the truck got faster. He's feeling that cool breeze. And he's like, fuck this windshield. And he's like, pff. And like he's feeling the breeze. And he's just like, yeah, because he leans forward more, and he just looks like he's taking a shit when he's driving. And he's like, I'm about to run this little bastard over. And then the stunt guy, like the obvious stunt guy that's obvious whenever Schwarzenegger ramps off. And then the musical cue. I have weird thoughts. When he yoinks him off his dirt bike and puts him on his motorcycle, the music cue as the dirt bike gets run over by the fucking 18-wheeler is just like, oh. Oh.
Yep.
Poor fucking dirt bike. And the dirt bike just looks so fucking pathetic. It's just like, why? It's sitting
Just
there.
crunch.
It just crunches. It's like, why me?
The 18-wheeler's like, brother, may I have a bit of munch?
Dude.
Crunch.
It fucked it up.
Yeah, he shoots the tire out and it just crashes. Just more iconic scenes after another. He stops the motorbike and he pulls out a shotgun waiting for something to walk out from the fucking inferno. And you just see a tire rolling out.
It's rubber.
Yeah. So they leave and the T-1000 just walks out liquefied. Like just that metallic look.
Which is funny because before he leaves the mall, he looks at a metallic
Mannequin.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was drinking.
No, it's okay. I couldn't think.
Yeah, because he has that one like foreshadowing, just like,
It's like, I think I'll copy you.
Yeah. But then we get the story of what's going on. John Connor from the future sent the T-101, whatever you want to call him, to protect him from the T-1000 that was sent to kill him, basically.
Right.
John can't believe it. He needs to let his parents know. Well, T-101 is basically like, well, he's probably already there, ready to find you, which you get another iconic scene.
Yeah, when Todd and Janelle, whenever they call him from the payphone or whatever, and the whole like the voice mimicking sequence and the dog and all this other stuff, how he deduces, well, he's like, oh, your fault, the parents are dead.
Yeah.
But that scene always kind of cracked me up as a kid because, okay, again, when he's yelling at the dog, when Todd is yelling at the dog, he's like, hey, shut up, you worthless piece of shit. And then John's like, the dog's actually barking. And he's like, I thought you were going to get rid of that fucking mutt. And then she just switches the fucking phone to the other ear and you just, and then like you eventually like cut back and he's got a whole fucking metal blade through the milk carton, through his fucking mouth, out the back of his head. It's like, oh, that'll shut him up.
What I also love about this scene is like trying to find a quarter. It's like, I don't have a quarter. He just punches the damn change. Like I love how ignorant the T-101 is to everything.
Like he's so fucking smart. Like he's basically a giant fucking robotic supercomputer that knows and has unlimited data on so much shit. But the way they handle the common sense and then like the practicality of that shit, he just backhands that fucking thing.
But yeah, so parents are dead, obviously. There's a little bit of a conflict between John and T-101 because he tries to hold him before he leaves and calls for help. These two guys show up. He realizes that he can control the T-101.
Yeah, just
he gives the commands and stuff like that. So these guys show up, just some random street people, and John tells them to fuck off, basically.
Fuck you, little dipshit.
And he's like, kick their ass. And he literally just mangles the shit out of him, punches. He grabs one dude's hand, like flips it over, throws him on the ground, and then he goes to proceed to shoot one of them, and John stops him, and he's like, no, we don't kill people. He's like, but that's my protocol. That's what I do.
Yeah, and I like that as the movie progresses, you start seeing where the movie is trying to focus on the human aspect of the film rather than the robotics of the film.
Right.
You get more layers of John Connor, who you get introduced as he's this punk ass brat who actually has a fucking heart. He's just developed this fucking attitude because he's been basically alone without his mom and dad his whole fucking life to this point.
Yep.
And like as the film progresses, you see the T-101 be like a surrogate dad almost. Yeah,
he doesn't have structure in his life. He doesn't have people to rely on. I mean, even with Janelle and Todd, they weren't really like they cared in their own way, but they didn't care. I guess you can say like
Right.
legitimately cared.
Yeah, I kind of caught on to that too. Because like while all this is happening, right, we get introduced to Miles Dyson, who is he's a systems engineer for Cyberdyne. And he's basically building the microprocessor that's going to eventually become Skynet. So that's more integral to the plot. You get introduced to the vault where it's got the brain chip and the arm from the first film. So you find out, okay, yeah, they covered it up.
Yep.
They absolutely covered all that shit up. So at this point is where we have the sequence at the hospital. So let's talk about some scenes from the hospital.
So the psychiatrist basically questions Sarah over and over again about these dreams she has. The Terminator, the sequence of when she killed the machine and all this other stuff. And then she was watching a playback of her explaining the dreams and everything like that to the doctor. And at this point, she's playing him, which you can obviously tell, like she's playing him because she wants to see her son again. Because apparently he promised her that if I stayed, behaved and whatever in 6 months, that you allow me to do this. Well, obviously he said no because he doesn't trust her, which
he shouldn't, honestly.
I was supposed to say, in his footsteps, yeah, I would be the same way. Because, I get stabbed in the fucking knee with a pin and I try to escape. Are you trying to escape? No. But she gets pissed off. She tries to strangle his ass and they put her down, strap her into the bed in her room and stuff. And we get introduced to her escaping that sequence where she gets the clothespin, which again, I fucking hate the orderly that walks in there and checks on her.
Oh, God. Yeah, because like they had the one sequence that we were talking about just now, but then there's a second sequence where the authorities visit her and they're just like, these are the pictures from the police precinct assault from 1984. These pictures were taken at a mall in Reseda today. Same dude. And she's just she's in shock, but she has the wherewithal to take a paperclip from the files.
Right.
So that's where the whole orderly, it's just fucking gross.
He fucking licks her because, he's a pervert, obviously.
Yeah.
And, he does his rounds and stuff. She takes the paperclip, unlatches herself, and starts to escape. Well, she fucking breaks the mop handle off.
Bruh.
And just beats the shit out of this dude. Like, when he turns around, just slaps. Oh my God. It was like 3 or 4 times she gets shot after shot on this fucker, which he deserved that shit.
Yeah, he did. And it's fucking crazy. If you go back and watch that in slow motion, like the makeup effect on the dude's nose, because she breaks his nose on the first hit, but you see like blood spray. It's very minute, but it's there. And it looks so good. Because that's one thing about both of these movies is the practical effects, even if it's like makeup or the xenomorph pieces and aliens, which we'll get to eventually. But one thing I can say is that they both hold up. And it's even more apparent that this shit holds up because we forgot to mention the very beginning of Terminator 2 when she's given the whole monologue during 2029 AD Los Angeles and all the miniature work and all the Stan Winston robotic, like the puppet engineering with the endoskeletons of the Terminators. And it just looks good. Even the laser gunfire looks great.
Right.
Even the T-1000 holds up. Because to watch this movie, like we're going to get to that fucking checkerboard floor sequence where old dude's getting the coffee.
Yeah.
Dude.
That one security guard, yeah. He stands like in front of the vending machine to get coffee and he steps on the T-1000, which a trait of his, if you don't know by now, he can mimic by touch. So if he gets any kind of imprint on any humanoid, he can mimic that humanoid. And man, he just forms up from the ground, just slowly and menacingly, and he turns into the guard. The guy turns around and just gets a fucking needle to the fucking, like, right in the eye, like, right above the eye hole. It's almost like a lobotomy almost, just like...
Do you recognize the twins in that sequence, though?
Mm-mm.
Remember Gremlins 2?
Oh, yeah.
They're the scientists. They're the redheaded scientists. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people were like, wow, they did a really good job, with the same actor mirroring it, but they're actually twins.
Same person, yeah.
Yeah, they're twins, dude.
Same
It's fucking wild.
Or different people, but twins, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, what I love about that scene, though, is whenever he stabs him in the fucking eye with his hand, he literally cocks his head like, does that hurt? Like, he's just confused. He's just like,
Great prosthetic job, great body mold piece of that.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about how off the podcast, obviously, how this movie and the first film have body horror element to it. This being a particular scene that showcases that.
Right.
And then at the same time in this whole sequence where they eventually get in and they find Sarah. Guys, look, okay, so at this point, Sarah has taken Silberman hostage with some fucking Roto-Rooter and a syringe, okay? Now, I can't be the only one that's noticed this. The T-101 is walking down the fucking hallway, shotgun in hand, just clad in leather. These orderlies are pinning her down, and they all obviously have got to be aware that this fucker is down the hallway.
But they're more focused on this one chick.
Right. And they're just like, oh, that's the guy that she's been describing for the last, I don't know how long she's fucking been locked up here, but a pretty good while. This is the fucking exact description. Oh, Silberman just saw photos of this guy in the fucking questioning room. Why are they not worried? Because he walks up and just fucks them up, dude.
Grabs them, throws them, beats the shit out of them. I mean, you name it. He's fucked these people up.
When I was a kid, and that old girl with that cast fucking backhands him and broke his fucking sunglasses, and he just pie faces her down the hall. I was like, yes.
It's like, really, bitch?
You broke some nice ass Ray-Bans, and trust us when we say shades on is not just a catchphrase. We dig sunglasses.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes, and this bitch fucked up royally.
But also, how does that not fucking hurt you? If your arm is already like fucked up and is casted, how does that not hurt you for hitting someone's face in general?
I'm gonna laugh if she was just like Jim Carrey as the Riddler from Batman Forever when he goes to punch that guard. Ow! Yeah, she just fucking like, ugh.
But also, I was laughing just now because the whole like security guard at the gate, whenever they pull up, and T-101 just he shoots the fucker in the legs, both knees, and John's like, "What are you doing?" He'll live.
Yeah, because John has like basically given him this whole speech about like you can't just go around killing people, and you need to learn that. Okay,
but yeah, he gives him like, "I swear I won't kill anyone" speech, like you said, and he walks up to the guard and shoots him in the kneecaps, and he just, my legs!
You shot me!
He punches a fucking gate open, and John's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "He'll live."
It's good shit.
Like we talked about earlier, the common sense is just like, oh.
The dry delivery of it, though, that's what makes it.
It's just like, yeah, he'll live. But yeah, like you said, Sarah sees the T-101 walking up. She panics. And then sees the T-1000 behind the bars and just that whole, just phasing through the bars with his metal body.
That shot is still referenced today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that scene, not even like so much referencing it in other pop culture like things, just that scene has been replayed for 30 years. It was like a technological achievement then. Like that was a big fucking deal. I love how someone he has that fucking needle cap in his mouth and he just drops it because his jaws just dropped open.
He's like, this is all real.
I know, right? Like this motherfucker, he's going to lock himself up and shit. He's going to straitjacket himself.
Yep.
And berate himself on a camera and shit.
Yep.
But I know like there's so many sequences in this film that we spend time on because it's like there's a lot to analyze. There's a lot that we just have such nostalgia for when we see this shit.
Mm-hmm.
They escape. You know, they go to this car garage where they kind of heal their wounds from, you know, the chase from the T-1000. T-1000, I want to say at this point, kind of disappears. He all but fucking disappears from the film for a considerable amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, you're getting more of Sarah basically trying to trust this machine.
Right.
Because in the director's cut, when they're bandaging up, you know, they're sewing her up and they're pulling the bullets out of his body. The director's cut actually makes more sense if you watch it because it doesn't really get brought up, but it's like, well, how does the Terminator learn, you know, certain things that he's not already programmed with? there's actually a sequence in the director's cut where he tells them that he can actually be factory reset to delete there's like a firewall basically that's built into where he can't like really learn any outside things other than his objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually slice like his head open and they peel the skin back and they take the chip out, and Sarah almost like instinctively destroys it with a sledgehammer. And John has to stop her, and she starts bitching at him, and he's just kind of like, well, if I'm supposed to be this great military leader, why the fuck aren't you listening to me for once?
Right.
And follow my orders. He's like, you got to trust, that he's not going to fucking kill us. He's here to protect and all this other shit. Well, they wind up doing the reset and they put it back. And so that kind of explains where like there's another sequence, during this whole part where he's trying to teach him how to smile. Mm-hmm. Because you wonder why in the theatrical cut, why is he smiling? There's no reason that he would know even how to smile. And that's why when he grins with that Gatling gun, and then there's more of a sequence of where they're working on the vehicle and he's telling the T-101 like, oh, mom was with, some certain dudes. There was this one guy that was really cool, but she scared him off because of, all the whole Judgment Day shit. And
right.
So again, you learn more and more about this character that he didn't really have much. And of course you get the monologue of Sarah being like, in a world that's basically in a world that's fucking crazy. Like the fact that the T-101 is the sane choice to be around this kid is fucked up.
Well, I mean, given the alternative that's happening, I mean, come on. You would think at some point after witnessing what you just saw that has to be an option that stays. Like you can't just dismiss it or destroy that option.
Right.
Because if not, I mean, there's no protection.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Because I mean, at some point, Sarah can't protect him for too long.
Right. And this eventually leads to the assassination attempt on Miles Dyson from Sarah, because she has that nightmare, that iconic nightmare scene where the nuclear explosion hits, because it is kind of referenced in the car ride over how Judgment Day happens, when it happens. So she's, she's like, fuck this, I want to go kill this bastard. And she almost succeeds, but she has like a very bad breakdown in the middle of the living room because the family's out and John and the T-101 show up because John predicts this is what's gonna fucking happen. God, this is another great special effects shot. When he fucking peels the skin off of his arm.
He's like flipping the blade and he's like, show him. He's like, Danny, show me your room. And then he turns and nods to the T-101. He's like, okay.
Do it.
But yeah, he just peels his fucking skin off of his forearm and just, shows him that there's the mechanization underneath that skin and that iconic line. Now listen to me very carefully.
Right. But it looks so good. I mean, the cut that I watched, like the HD, the 4K, oh God, it looks so good. It still holds up so well. Like this blood covered, just this mechanical arm is just fuck, dude. Mm-hmm. So basically they explain to Dyson what needs to be done, which, again, when he's just like, oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up or whatever. There's another extended sequence where he's actually working on this at home. He was supposed to take his kids to some water park. And the theatrical cut kind of makes him out to be this real, like, oh, I'm being selfish in the research on this and all this other crap, or he's just being mindless about it. When in reality, in the director's cut, his intentions are that of what we have now as of 2021. It's like smart devices, AI. Like we have cars that drive themselves right now, and he's even talking about in this sequence, he's like, imagine an airplane with a pilot that doesn't show up to work drunk, that doesn't get tired, cars that can take you home if you're too drunk to drive, shit like that. Like the dude had good intentions, but unfucking fortunately,
it led to severe consequences.
Yes. So then what basically is what I would like to call the longest third act in any action film that I've ever seen. The whole Cyberdyne building sequence, which that's a fun sequence on its own too.
Right.
You see him go in and they're rigging all these explosives and all this shit in this building. And even in the director's cut, like Miles is begrudging, not necessarily begrudgingly, he realizes his entire life's work is just gone.
Yeah.
But he's doing it because he's going to help prevent what is going to happen in the future. And he destroys like this particular piece that he's been working on, and the SWAT team eventually shows up.
just gun him down.
Dude. Well, the sequence where the T-101 like walks up to the building to distract all the cops and shit, where he just takes that big ass gun and just starts mowing down vehicles and just like blowing them up to hell. And
yeah, he gets that grenade launcher and just like that noise, that boom. It's so satisfying to hear.
Then we kind of get the T-1000 he's been lagging a little bit. So he goes to Dyson's house and sees all the Cyberdyne paper files burning. During this whole sequence where there's a giant shit, like you mentioned, they shoot the fuck out of Dyson, which, dude, I saw Dean Norris's face through one of those masks, and I was like, that looks like fucking the guy that plays Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. Sure fucking enough, he's the SWAT leader in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He just plays a cop in every role that he's ever in.
That's what he's used to.
It's just funny to me, though.
Yeah.
But the way that John, T-101, and Sarah escape, like they're going downstairs, the SWAT team is in, and the T-101 just starts kneecapping all of them with his fucking pistol, while upstairs, Dyson's dying. So he kind of rigs this improvised like dead man switch for this explosion.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, the first half of this is like literally they're in the elevator, T-101, they see the knockout gas come flying in, and he's just like, just wait here, basically. And he walks through it fucking badass as hell. And like you said, he kneecaps every fucking single one of those damn SWAT members, grabs the fucking SWAT truck and just drives it through, rescuing John and, Sarah from the elevator. But yeah, on the second side of it, that one floor, they all, swarm in on Dyson, and you just hear, and he's literally like trying to like hold on as long as possible.
It's such an odd sequence for me to watch because on one hand, there's a shitload of emotion, which I don't know if a lot of people really catch in this scene. There's a shitload of emotion to this one particular scene. Mm. He's dying. Like his wife and kids are not going to have their dad. He's struggling to breathe. He's dying for something he feels, which it really is if you look in the movie's context. He's dying for a fucking legit cause, and he's going to carry through with it because he could have easily just said fuck this and chicken out, but he didn't. And that whole floor just blows the fuck up, dude. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. And I mean, the fact that he even like tried to hold on long enough for the SWAT team to get the fuck out, that kind of says a lot about his character as a person. Like he wasn't, even though they shot the fuck out of him, he was intentionally trying not to fucking blow them up too.
Right.
Let's not forget though, when we talked about the T-101 kneecap and everybody, let's not forget the two guards that he fucking like point blank blasted with those fucking gas canisters out of that gun.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he eventually took that freaking launcher out, and he was just boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah.
Just gassing the whole area, and that's when, like I said, he grabbed the truck and took off. But on the floor above, you see the T-1000 literally ride a fucking bike, a motorcycle onto a helicopter.
Jesus Christ.
Grab the damn thing and punch his head through the damn window, meld in. He looks at the fucking pilot. He goes, "Get out."
I love how that guy's like, it just shakes his mouth open, shakes his head like, okay.
Yeah.
And just, the way he just jumps out like, ah.
Yep. And then we get yet another awesome chase sequence, which, dude, these people who are stunt pilots driving that fucking helicopter underneath that underpass like that, god damn, dude. Or that overpass.
Dude, that whole sequence was just very well directed and very well shot because fuck, dude, like when you think action movies, like, okay, the first movie, let's talk about T1. Very low key, very horror driven, story driven, obviously.
Right.
This movie just cranked the volume up, especially that. I think that entire chase sequence from Cyberdyne all the way to the steel factory is probably one of the best chase sequences in any film in cinematic history. And I'm not just saying that to say like, oh, it's all grandiose, but it fucking is. Because the sequence where, as that's happening, he fucking like hard brakes and that copter just smashes into the back of the SWAT van and they crash and burn. So they take this pickup truck and the T-1000 just stabs this fucking guy and steals his liquid nitrogen 18-wheeler.
And this is probably by far one of my favorite, if not my favorite scene in this whole fucking film.
I wonder if he was using his third arm to shift.
We forgot about that with the helicopter.
Yeah, because
he was literally using his fucking metal dick to drive the helicopter while he was reloading that little SMG in his hand and shooting.
Yeah, because I don't... Okay, you're going to laugh at this. So I don't know if that was a goof or not. I don't know if that was supposed to be like, oh, he's growing more arms to pilot this copter while he's shooting, or if that was like a legitimate technical error they just left in there.
I mean, if it was a technical error, it still made sense because he's liquid metal. He can form, different whatever, but they didn't show that throughout the whole film until that one shot. But yeah, like I said, probably my favorite scene in this whole fucking film is they get to close to the factory, and while T-101 is trying to hold him off, he gets rammed, like the truck gets rammed by the 18-wheeler, and he loses his one grenade. Well, I think that pissed him off.
Right.
So he grabs the AR.
I love this shot so much. Literally, I love this shot.
He grabs multiple shots.
Exactly.
He grabs the AR from the truck and he hops into the bed of the pickup, jumps on the roof or the hood of the 18-wheeler, and he just blows a fucking clip into the face of the T-1000 and drives that truck like sideways and wrecks it. And I'm like, God fucking damn, dude, this is awesome as hell. Because he just casually walks up to this dude mid-drive, 60, 70 miles an hour pursuit, and just shoots the shit out of him. Not even phased.
No.
And he crashes that damn 18-wheeler, which we get to the part where, okay, now there's a weakness with the T-1000, because throughout the whole fucking film, he gets shot, he gets hit, he gets whatever, and he just regenerates like super quick. Well, the nitrogen leaks everywhere, and the T-1000 walks out, and he's starting to basically freeze, and he's slowly losing momentum, and he starts to break as he walks, and literally just stays there and freezes in place, just hasta la vista, baby, clip, and just shatters him.
That is probably... We keep saying iconic, but I think that might be the actual most iconic piece of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to say something. The T-101 is supposed to kind of know like everything about this T-1000. Would it have made more sense instead of him shattering him into so many pieces, and the heat would have helped him thaw quicker? Would it have made more sense for him to just like pick the whole fucking thing up and just dump it into a vat of that metal?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah. I mean, movie magic. They just make everything longer. But yeah, we get yet another little chase sequence to close out the third act. John is separated from Sarah. T-101 is trying to fight as hard as he can, but he's like literally getting hammered, like so fucking hard. He loses his left arm in a freaking like mechanism in the factory. He tries to literally crawl to his grenade launcher, and he gets a rebar shoved into his back, and he just shuts off for a little while, which we all know it's not going to be permanent.
Right.
T-1000 confronts John and Sarah. Sarah's shooting him with the fucking shotgun that she has, and he's getting backed up, like he does throughout the whole film. He's getting like recoiled back towards the liquid metal. And then she's out of shotgun shells. Well, what the fuck do you do now? The T-101 surprisingly wakes up long enough to grab one of the cogs and just ride up from behind and just shoot that fucking grenade, the last one he had, right into the fucking stomach of the T-1000 and just explodes him into this weird, like metal artwork looking monstrosity.
I love the face that he makes when he realizes, oh shit, I'm about to die. It just reminded me of like an old Japanese, like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Robert Kilpatrick.
Exactly. Now, I wanted to point something out on the director's cut about this whole scene in particular. There's a couple shots where when he reforms, when the T-1000 reforms and he's walking kind of stalking them. He grabs this railing that's like caution, and his hand kind of sticks to it, and it stretches out, and he pulls it off, and his hand is the same color, and he shakes his hand, and it goes back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then there's parts where he's walking, and his feet are sticking to the ground. And then the sequence where he poses as Sarah, the reason John realizes who the real Sarah is because he looks down, and the T-1000 as Sarah Connor's feet are melded to the floor. So basically what's happening is in the director's cut, they're showing the T-1000 having so much weakness, which I thought was kind of a neat thing. But yeah, so like this is the end of the movie where they've basically, like, he's fallen into this molten pit after being shot with that grenade launcher, and he melts away. And so the T-101 is just like, no, you have to destroy my computer processor. And we get the whole sequence where John is like crying because, you know, he's going to be dying basically. And it all kind of goes back to this whole thing where, like, at one point in the movie, T-101 asked him, you know, why do you cry? Like, people, you know, and he finally understands. Like, at the end of this, he finally gets why, you know. So at this point, like, Sarah kind of has gained respect, trusts him, but they, you know, they lower him and they melt him.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie basically, the theatrical cut ends with, you know, them kind of riding off into the darkness, and she gives this kind of hopeful speech about what the future might hold and all this stuff.
Right.
Now, in the director's cut, this is probably the weirdest thing, because if you want to say, oh, T1 and T2 are the definitive duology, like, fuck all the sequels. Let's just say that this was the end.
Yeah.
I have to point out what happens, and then there's also like a fucking error in here. So in the monologue that she gives, there's a camera shot that opens up on a futuristic Los Angeles, but it also kind of looks like DC. An older Sarah is recording a monologue into a digital recorder while watching an older John play with his daughter/her granddaughter. And she says, August 29th, 1997 came and went. Nothing much happened. Michael Jackson turned 40, which they're off by a year because he would have only been 39 in 1997 because his birthday was in 58.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Judgment Day. People went to work as they always do, laughed, complained, watched TV, made love. I wanted to run through the street yelling to grab them all and say that every day from this day on is a gift. Use it well. Instead, I got drunk. That was 30 years ago, but if the dark future that never came still exists for me, it always will, like the traces of a dream. John fights the war differently than it was foretold. Here on the battlefield of the Senate, his weapons are common sense and hope. So John is like a senator in this ending. And honestly, it's kind of a fitting like bookend to say like, oh, they succeeded. Because let's be honest, we got a shit ton of convoluted sequels. I kind of feel like the same thing happened with Aliens. Like, I feel like Alien 1 and Aliens were probably, they should have been left alone a little bit, or at least some breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, that's Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Summer's coming. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? You're in luck. Our friends at Manscaped just launched their 4th generation performance package, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0. Complement your dad bod or six-pack with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. The sun is shining and calling your name, fellas. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for hot guy summer with 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com and use our code SUPER. Don't show up at the beach with cut up and blistering balls. It's time to bundle up with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. No, your nuts are not included to be held with the bag. First off, the new Performance Package 4.0 includes the new Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is insane, and dare I say the GOAT of ball trimmers. Did we really need to bring an actual goat in for this? Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor. A new multi-function on-off switch can engage a travel lock, and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention this is waterproof? In the shower or in the wild, from your chest all the way to your balls. the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best trimmer for you. If you want to take your grooming game even further to the next level, the Performance Package 4.0 is for you. It includes the Weed Whacker to chop up the worst weeds up to your nose and ears. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which prevents nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate spots. Seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulations. Before heading outside, use the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant to keep you on your game in the heat. Then, after trimming the lawn and whacking the weeds, weed whacking, give your beach balls a boost and use the Crop Reviver. Manscaped has even thrown in 2 free gifts to this Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. Get 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com and using our code SUPER. That's 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com using our code SUPER. Escape the shrubs and weeds this summer and shine with Manscaped.
Welcome everybody to the Body Skew Podcast.
Whoa, dude. No. This is our promo, not the show. I'm Rico.
Oh, sorry. I'm CJ, and we're the hosts of the Body Skew Podcast.
We're fans of pretty much anything and everything pop culture, including movies, TV shows, books, video games, comics, music, and of course, Kevin Smith. Now, while we do keep our fingers on the pulse of Silent Bob, he certainly doesn't need our help in promoting him.
You got that right. We do our own thing, with inspiration from the man himself and his mantra of why not. We've got stories about celebrities we've interviewed, theories of our own for certain movies, and we can usually tend to have a great debate about anything.
We also do commentaries on movies. Sometimes we ask our fans what they want to watch with us. So if you love the timbre of our vocal cords and want to watch a movie at the same time, give us a listen.
Stay tuned every Monday, there's always something new. And if you've been good this year, we may even give you a bonus episode from time to time.
So please be good and subscribe to and enjoy Body Skew, founding member of the OddPods Media Network.
Aliens, another James Cameron film, which is really weird because he actually started production on this film before he did Terminator. And it was so weird because this movie had such like bounce back from like all the different executives at Fox and all this other stuff. Now Aliens, okay, like we went into a few iconic scenes from Terminator 2 because like there's a lot of heart to that one, but like Aliens is just a kind of a full-blown sci-fi action horror film. There's a little bit of heart to it, with the fact that, okay, so like Ripley wakes up after 57 years in stasis. She's the sole survivor.
Right, which if you don't know, spoiler, from the first film, she's drifting into space for God knows how long in cryo sleep or stasis sleep, basically, her and Jonesy.
That is such a cute cat.
Yeah. And she's collected by a ship, basically, to be transported to a space station that is orbiting Earth. And
wasn't it the Weyland-Yutani Corps that actually saved her?
Yep.
And it was by a complete accident.
Yeah.
Like, if they wouldn't have been in the right place at the right time, that bitch would have, dude, could you imagine that bitch just floating around fucking space for eternity? Sleeping and shit?
Yeah. But they explained to her, like, you've been asleep for 57 years. Her actual kid died at age of, I forget it was like in the 60s or 70s from cancer.
Which that's got to be so fucked up because like when her daughter was like 11
or turning 11, yeah.
Yeah, she was turning 11 when she went on the Nostromo in the first film and she's like, I'll be back for your birthday.
Yeah. Well, that's never going to happen now.
You're the worst mother ever.
Yeah. You haven't returned back in, God knows how long. She's rolling in her grave on Earth. Ripley, believe it or not, you're a bad mom.
Jesus Christ.
No, she's not, but still.
No, we're being shits.
But she's approached by the board to explain why she did what she did 57 years ago. Because at this point, nobody believes her that there's some alien colonization on the planet that she came from.
Which, spoiler alert, they actually know that that's happening because they're fucking terraforming the planet that they're on.
They've been terraforming for 20 fucking years. And they're like, you destroyed a whole ship.
You destroyed a whole colony.
Yeah, for the sake of one alien. explain that. And Ripley's like, you guys, like, this is like legit shit. Like, it killed everybody on my ship.
They're too legit to shit.
Yeah. Well, they basically didn't press charges or arrest her, but they revoked her from pretty much anything.
And they kind of psych evaluated her too.
Well, I think it was Burke, if I'm not mistaken. Burke and Lieutenant Gorman. They approached her with a task to end the colonization, or to basically go find the colony that was lost in an excavation site on the planet. But she flat out just closed the door on him as soon as he even said anything.
I mean, wouldn't you too?
I mean, nobody believes you, which, again, it's the whole fucking Sarah Connor incident. Nobody believes her.
Right. Did we bring those parallels up earlier?
Yeah, there are so many parallels to Ripley and Connor, like Sarah. I mean, they both have PTSD from tragic events. They both have, like, nobody believing them. They feel like they're psychotic.
Yeah, and then, like, their characters arc from, like victims to heroes.
Right.
And I loved this the most about both of these movies. Very strong women characters. We have always needed strong fucking women characters in films.
But also another thing, too, is, like, they went from being this hardcore, like, traumatized person to being like a loving motherly type figure, because Sarah was very harsh on John in the very beginning. Even though she said she wanted to see him, she eventually warmed up to the fact that, you know, my son is important. Like, it's not just about the Judgment Day and everything like that going on. And then, like we're going to talk about with Ripley, you know, she did lose her actual daughter, but she eventually finds, which they find the Marine Corps, the Colonial Marines that they gather, they wake from their stasis sleep, and they form the alliance to go and investigate the colony that is, you know, missing.
Which, dude, this is honestly a motherfucking who's who of casting in this movie. You got, obviously, Sigourney Weaver. You got Michael Biehn, who plays Hicks, who Michael Biehn was in the first Terminator.
Right.
Paul Reiser, you know, I think most famously, you know, was in the sitcom Mad About You.
Mm-hmm.
But he also was in, like, Beverly Hills Cop 2 and, you know, other and Beverly Hills Cop series, as a matter of fact. But he's a fucking asshole in this movie. Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, and the chick that plays Vasquez in this actually played Janelle, the stepmom in Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like a thing where Cameron uses some of the same actors in some of his movies.
But it's such a huge contrast between Janelle and Vasquez.
Right?
Like, Vasquez is this beefy, badass bitch, and Janelle is just like a, you know, housewife who's just giving up on her fucking marriage. So, yeah, to kind of give you a rundown, like, Ripley's explaining to them what is going to, you know, they want what to expect with these aliens, and they don't believe her, which, again, it's the whole fucking trope at the beginning of this film. Nobody believes her at all, even though, you know, clearly something's amiss this whole fucking way. So they load up, suit up, get the fuck on, and we get a sequence where there's this kid and his family in the colony that get attacked by the xenomorphs, and one of the face huggers grabs the dad and latches onto him, and this kid, Rebecca, sees it firsthand. Well, come to find out, they eventually find this child, which they've called Newt, is actually the surviving child from that attack. The only survivor from the colony.
How fucked up, dude.
Yeah, because she survived in a vent system for this long.
She looked like she was in the garbage compactor from Star Wars.
Yeah, she just came out of the trash. She's like a trash chute baby.
She's a trash baby.
Yeah. But, you know, Ripley forms a bond with Newt, and she tries to gain trust from her. And the rest of the team, they're following suit. They're finding, you know, signals of the other colonists. Well, come to find out, there's something weird about this one particular room.
Gee, I wonder what it is.
This wall seems very hive-like.
It seems very alive.
Yeah.
This is where we get some of the first kills, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Where, Jesus, dude, The only chest burster scene for this movie, it was fucking like, oh, you know, it was just old girl when she was like all caked in that shit on the wall, and they find her, and she just.
Well, we get like a half of one too, because in the beginning too, Ripley has a dream sequence.
That's right, which is again going back to the parallels between Ripley and Sarah Connor.
Mm-hmm. Because she has a chest pain, and she dreams that a chest burster is literally inside of her body, but she comes to and realizes that that's just trauma from what she experienced. So it's like a 1.5, chest burster introduction, basically, from the original film.
I know this is a sequence where when they kill the chest burster, all the aliens that are like in the wall.
Oh my God. I got chills the first time I saw that shit, dude.
Dude, the first time I ever saw this film, I was like 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was either like 9 or 10. And again, it was the case of I saw aliens before I saw the original.
Right.
And holy shit, dude. The design, just the sliminess, the way they move, how quiet they are when they fucking move. Oh my God. It's fucking frightening.
Yeah, they're like slithery, and they're molded, like their shapes are molded into the walls, to where you see the one scene with one of the Marines is like facing the camera, and you see in the background the alien literally coming out, like it's like art coming to life. It literally just comes out of the wall and crawls around, and it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking traumatizing. But yeah, they take out like half the Marines in like an instant.
I like how the one guy just torches the other guy by complete fucking accident.
Yeah, I mean, he is not aware what's going on. He's trying to flamethrow all these freaking xenomorphs, and he just turns to home dude in front of him and just torches his ass.
Frost. That's just so funny.
The irony, yeah.
Yeah, the fucking irony. He just sets a dude named Frost on fucking fire.
Well, I wonder if James Cameron wrote that in. It's like, hey, how funny would that be if Frost dies from a flamethrower?
This is the real song of Fire and Ice.
Yeah, literally. This is where freaking Martin's like, That's a cool name.
Yeah, R.R. Martin just,
Yeah. Fire. Frost. Wait. Book idea. But yeah, they completely wipe out half the Marines at this point. Yeah, one was picked up and just disposed of. One was literally accidentally flamethrowed. Another one was acetized by the blood, because when they shoot the xenomorphs, they spray blood, but it's acid based.
Yep.
And it just melts motherfucker to death. And Ripley's just seeing this happen, and she's freaking the fuck out. Like, I can't sit here anymore. Like, I got to go in and help. But I think all that's left is Newt, Burke, Ripley, and Bishop. And I think one other person, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I think Vasquez.
Well, Vasquez is she's still alive.
There's like a handful left, and they're literally just like freaking out. What the fuck do we do? So Ripley has to take control of the situation. It's like, we're going to take them out. Like, we have to. We can't just back out because they're killing us.
Yeah, because she's just like, look, Hicks is trying to he wants to like drop ship to recover the survivors. But I think this is where like one of the aliens like gets like stowed away on it and starts killing the pilots. And this is where it like crashes into the station, right?
Well, we get a conflict between Ripley and Burke, because Ripley wants to nuke the whole fucking planet, or the whole colony. And Burke's like, no, we can't do that. And then you find out that he's in it to, gain money from this, or profit, or whatever.
Yeah, because he's the one that ordered all the colonists to investigate the spaceship that had all the eggs in them.
So the consensus was that they're going to nuke it no matter what, because they can't let this. I mean, it's the same with the Terminators. Like, you can't let this continue.
No, you can't. A lot of parallels here, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that crash that happened actually fucks up the cooling system that it's going to explode. So they're essentially sitting on like a 4-hour ticking time bomb.
Right.
Which that is another element in the film that adds to the tension, because like you mentioned this earlier, and it's very fucking true. Alien and Aliens are both very high tension films in certain sequences, but especially in Aliens.
Yeah.
So basically Ripley doesn't really necessarily trust Bishop, the droid.
Because of prior events, obviously.
Yeah. But it kind of gains her trust whenever he's volunteering to remotely pilot the dropship that's left over. And this is a really fucked up part. So like Ripley and Newt had like taken a nap in the lab. Well, they're trapped with a couple of facehuggers, which fucking Burke is the reason why, because he basically wanted the facehuggers to lay the eggs into them so that he could take them back and have baby xenomorphs.
Yeah, he's like cutting cords, basically. It's like, you know too much. So I'm going to use you.
I'm going to smuggle.
For gains. But yeah, that whole sequence is fucking tense because the doors are locked. You have these creatures stalking your ass, like trying to grab your fucking face.
Uncle Fucker.
And
can we just call Burke Uncle Fucker? Because he's just such a motherfucker.
Yeah, I can't stand him. But out of nowhere, like this part like just confuses the fuck out of me because Ripley uses a chair to break the window and it doesn't do anything to it.
But goddamn, is it Hicks that just
he just like dive bombs into the fucking window like it's nothing. She didn't weaken it that much to where a full grown man full speed would break it. Because normally you would just bounce off of it like shit.
He just Bill Goldberg's his way through that son of a bitch.
Yeah, he spears the shit.
Who's next?
Yeah.
This fucking glass.
This glass is ass.
To jackhammer it.
Yeah. But yeah, they eventually get out. What do you do? Like, how do you get out of the situation now? Because you're surrounded.
Well, the power gets cut.
Yeah.
And again, it goes from one tense situation to another because this is where the aliens are attacking from above because like Higgs like kind of pokes up through the ceiling and this is such a great shot. And the sequence is how it's like bathed in red and blue, like soft blue lighting with red overture.
It's a very beautiful contrast.
Right. In fact, if you look at our episode poster, both of the movie posters that we used for this episode actually has that red and blue scheme to it. Mm-hmm. Very futuristic, very just chef's kiss. But anyway, yeah, so he's poking his head up through and you just see a shit ton of these fuckers just crawling to them upside down. And he just like goes back down and they just start fucking opening fire and they're coming down through the ceiling and fucking them up 9 ways a Sunday and just kill Burke.
Which he deserved it.
Dude, went from Paul Ryser to Paul Dizer.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I'd laugh my ass off though with that scene because like before it eats, because it's off camera obviously, but before it eats him, it's like a zoom in of the xenomorphs' mouths, and it looks like it's going, like it's all excited to eat him and shit.
It's like Axl Rose just.
Welcome to the colony. Oh fuck. Welcome to your tiny.
Yeah.
Goddamn. But yeah, he fucking dies. Hudson is kind of incapacitated. Hicks gets acid tossed on him. Because why the fuck not? And Gorman, that's the other guy that was alive. Gorman and Vasquez they blow up a couple of the xenomorphs, but they kill themselves in the process of it.
It's a whole Dyson situation.
Another fucking parallel. Jesus Christ.
I know. Like James Cameron just loves reusing the same ideas.
I mean, you know, this is oh God. And this is this is another pretty iconic shot when Newt is in that like sewer thing because she falls through this fucking chute and goes on a Newt chute riot down this fucking thing.
Newt chute riot.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
but oh my God, like I talked about in T2, my favorite scene, this is my favorite scene in Aliens because you see her just standing in the water with the doll and Ripley looks down like eventually and sees that she's gone, but just watching that xenomorph just slowly rise out of the water is like, oh my fucking God,
it's nightmare fuel, man.
Oh shit, dude. Like,
oh shit.
Like the lighting was perfect. Just that glare on all the shiny parts of the body and the water drips and shit. And you just see Newt like literally minute compared to this thing. And it's fucking terrifying, dude.
No shit. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about how awesome the practical effects on this are because a lot of these xenomorphs are built as like puppets and robotic pieces.
Mhm.
And it's all shot live on camera. There's no post-production to any of this shit. It's fucking impressive.
Yeah. Like they do obviously have like the scene with the ones crawling on the ceiling. Those are like actors and dancers and gymnasts that crawl and stuff, but the camera was flipped upside down to simulate them being on the ceiling.
Right.
But yeah, majority of the time when you see them, they're mechanized and they're very beautifully articulated to where they, just seem real. Like not from just like visually, but from like motion.
Right. But yet the xenomorph captures Newt. Well, Ripley and Hicks finally get to Bishop where the second dropship is, but she's not going to leave Newt behind because she's kind of become a motherly figure to this kid.
Right.
So they go to the processing station and Ripley just like rigs up this big fucking like weapon. So she's just going to go she's going to go to the hive.
Yep.
Like, she's going down this elevator shaft into the fucking hive to get this kid. And holy shit. Like you see the queen alien for the first time and Jesus Christ, like she is fucking massive. It's fucking frightening to look at.
Grotesque and horrifying at the same time because she is just spewing one egg after another at this point. It reminds me, and I think this was probably where they get the reference from Futurama when they had the slurm factory.
Yeah.
They're literally just making slurm.
One egg leads to another. Oh.
But yeah, Ripley finds Newt all gooped up in the wall and she takes her off and she's literally confronted by the queen. And goddamn, dude, Ripley has balls. Like she is authoritative as fuck because she has a flamethrower in her fucking hand.
Yep.
And she's showing off like what the fuck I'm going to do if you fuck with us. So the queen recognizes this threat and tells the other xenomorphs to stand down.
Hey, back off, please. Goddamn.
But as they back away from the cavern, one of the facehuggers starts popping out and she just starts torturing every fucking one of them. Just nope.
Oh, and I love how, like, just with the quickness, she's like, nope, fuck this. It
Yeah.
just sets them ablaze.
And this pisses the queen. Like, she's like, nope, fuck this egg laying shit. I'm going to kill this bitch.
Yeah. She just rips off the fucking tube and just like, I'm going to chase you down.
That just, I can just imagine like in a hospital, somebody's in a like coma state and have the tube in their throat. Just
Fuck
alive.
this, I'm done.
I'm alive.
Right. Okay, so it's a queen alien that can probably climb and very well do this.
Yeah.
The bitch takes the fucking elevator. The fucking queen alien has the wherewithal to take an elevator.
But it's just so funny how it's surprised. She's just right there.
It's like, hi.
Yeah. You killed my babies.
Going down, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, Ripley and Newt eventually get to Bishop and then Hicks on the dropship, and they escape. And then the whole colony blows up. Oh, no.
Oh, so you think it's over?
Yeah, no, it ain't. Because on the Solico, the queen ambushes everybody who was just, she just tagged along in the landing gear because she's a bitch.
Yep.
Let's talk about the shot where it's revealed that this happens, though, because Bishop just gets fucking stabbed with the tail and just ripped clean in fucking half. Jesus.
If it wasn't for that other scene I was talking about, that would have been my favorite scene too, because oh my God, he just gets yeeted two different ways.
It's like the sequence in Jurassic Park, The Lost World, the second one where the two T-Rexes rip that dude in half.
Yeah.
But it's much more grotesque looking. And it's weird because the droid has this milky kind of substance as his liquid in his body.
Right.
If that would have been blood and guts, holy shit. I guarantee you they did that to obtain the R rating. I mean, like, pre-thought out, obviously.
Damn, dude. That was just so... Oh.
The effects look good on that, too.
I can't describe, like, how much I'm smiling right now thinking about that shot. Just ripping that motherfucker in half. Like, it wasn't even done, like... Most times you see like a kind of a close up or like half shot and then you just see the body parts fall. No, it was literally like
it's a wide shot.
It's
dude.
a wide shot. You see the body parts just split in half and his torso goes one way
and his legs.
His legs go the other. So what the fuck do you do against this thing? Well, Ripley is tired of this shit she dons the power suit, the mech suit.
Yeah, because we forgot to mention that in the beginning. Like, she impresses the male pilots by donning this exosuit. It's like a cargo loader, and she's really good at it. And they're just like, fucking A, please load this shit.
Yeah.
And again, this
ties in because another iconic scene, but iconic line, just like in Terminator, you know, the whole part where he's like, Hasta la Vista is like very iconic. Get away from her, you bitch.
What if it was Cowboy Bob from fast food? Get away from my burgers, bitch. Get it, or she just like changes voice. Get away from her, you bitch.
Yep.
But that sequence is fucking terrifying too. It's badass and terrifying because she's fighting this fucking thing in this exosuit, and it almost like eats her face.
Yeah, because you know the xenomorphs have a tongue of a mouth that pops out, and I mean, it was literally like 2 or 3 inches from her face. It was super close, and they're wrestling, they're tussling and hustling and all that shit. Well, Ripley tries to push it towards the escape, like the
cargo
load, which has a hatch that opens up to outer space, basically.
Yeah, like she knocks her into the airlock, but the fucking queen drags her with her.
Yeah, and drops the damn suit on her, and Ripley eventually tries to push the button to open the hatch. Well, you see the queen getting sucked into the airlock, like through the vacuum of space. See, I mentioned this earlier, and it bothers me because there should be no air supply during that suction.
Yeah, we talked about that shit too. It was just like, how did she live through that? Because, like, okay, just take the oxygen out for right now. Just the force of that suction. How she had her arm hooked in that fucking dude, it would have ripped her off of her arm.
Ripley, her arms.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, she wouldn't have any strength to withhold the suction of space, the vacuum of space being, you know, that much force. I mean, it's strong as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it was sucking stuff down from on the top level above the hatch that far out. I mean, yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it sucks harder than the Dallas Cowboys.
That's hard to compete with.
It's pretty hard.
But you eventually get to where they close it off and it's just half a bishop nude. And Ripley,
literally half of fucking.
They literally saved the better half.
Right.
And they eventually make it out and just, you know, vacuum sealed bitch. I was trying to think of like a way to describe that scene, but yeah, he's like vacuum sealed, like freaking meat.
It's like groceries, dude.
Yeah. And, you know, Ripley and Newt get put into sleep as well. But, I mean, obviously this isn't the end.
No. Because, I mean, they go to hypersleep on their return to Earth. But as we know, we've got an Alien 3. We've got an Alien Resurrection.
We've got Prometheus. We've got Covenant.
We've got Alien vs. Predator 1, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Just didn't end.
Which, we discussed this too. Like, after Prometheus came out, the series picked up in a good direction. And then Covenant kind of went with that direction. So, it's kind of not as highly as the first two, but it's like the betters of the after facts, basically.
Yeah, like they're probably the better entries. Like I would probably pick those two over Alien 3, which Alien 3 has some quality to it if you go and look at the alternate cut of the film. But I just was not a big fan of Resurrection.
I can't stomach Resurrection. Like it's just
if you put Resurrection in the title, chances are it sucks, much like Halloween Resurrection.
Exactly. And then like the fact that you would put Alien vs. Predator above Resurrection too.
Oh, I would.
Yeah, that's the sad part. That's how bad this movie is.
Yeah.
Like a movie that's based on like almost like a comedic battle between two badass horror film like creatures of sci-fi. That's saying something.
Yeah. It's the Freddy versus Jason of science fiction.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Aliens. And as per usual, when there are two films of this caliber, we leave it up to you.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you guys, I can't pick between these two because I'm such a huge fan of Alien franchise, but at the same time, T2 is so fucking iconic and so goddamn good.
Same. Both of these movies are staples of popular culture. They're staples of my film collection and Cody's.
I mean, they're part of our childhood.
Yeah.
Like, that's how great these films are. So, no, we won't pick a favorite because they're both good. But, like he said, which one do you prefer?
Well, I have it right here. In 86 votes, with a percentage of 62% to 38%, Terminator 2 takes the victory, which I'm really surprised it was that much of a gap.
I'm not.
Because, well, I mean, I watched this poll over the week, and it was like neck and neck for like a really good bit. But I kind of can see where a lot of people would pick Terminator 2. I think maybe it's the ground. It's not. Neither of these are really grounded because, I mean, fuck, they're science fiction.
Right.
I want to say maybe the humanistic pieces of Terminator 2, maybe the quotes, Schwarzenegger, maybe.
Well, I mean, there was more characters that are recognizable in Terminator than there are in Aliens because really all you have is Ripley and Xenomorphs.
Well, I mean, I think some of the Colonial Marines are pretty iconic themselves, but I do agree.
But comparably to T-11, the T-1000, John Connor, Sarah Connor,
yeah,
I mean, them alone carried the franchise for what it is.
True.
I mean, even if the T-1000 was only in one film, I mean, he still was a very iconic character.
Well, if you watch Genesis, he's in that. But it's weird. Like Terminator Genesis was like a soft reboot where they actually went into different areas of time. There was some that took place in the first, some that took place in the second.
Mm.
It wasn't terrible, but it's definitely not the best. I would venture to say, and this is probably very controversial, outside of the first two movies, Rise of the Machines was not a terrible sequel. If you're going to go with like anyone that was outside of the original two, the third one wasn't terrible. Dark Fate kind of...
I heard bad things.
Look, Dark Fate pissed all over everything the first two were. Terminator 3 carried it forward without necessarily fucking it up too bad.
Right.
They tried Salvation with Christian Bale, which I thought was piss poor. Genesis was just not that great. Yeah, Rise of the Machines is probably the better of all of these. But if you want to bookend it with the first two, watch the first one and then director's cut of the second one. If you want to bookend it with Aliens, watch the first two and just be done. According to the voting, Terminator 2 takes the victory this week, so Terminator 2 Judgment Day wins this week's Cult Cinema Showdown.
I mean, I'm not even sad about that. I mean, yeah,
either one of these could have won. I'd have been satisfied, honestly.
Yeah, like hardcore Alien fan, but T2 is such a good movie, like overall. So it doesn't bother me.
And then on our next Cult Cinema Showdown, we've talked about Terminator 2. We've talked about Aliens, but we're going to talk about the Bruno Mattei ripoffs from fucking Italy. Robo War, which is a big amalgamation of RoboCop, Rambo, and Predator, going against, I'm not shitting you, in Italy. It's called Terminator 2, and it came out in 1989, but elsewhere it's called Shocking Dark, which is a Terminator and Aliens combination ripoff movie. Get ready for that shit.
So, yeah, the rise and fall, basically. Because I can guarantee you these two films are not going to be nearly close to the first, the ones we talked about.
No.
I can already foresee that.
Oh, yeah, but I can tell you right now, they're going to be fun as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Because anytime we get to do shit like that, it's a blast and a half. Thanks for listening. Be sure to catch all the other shows on the OddPods Media Network. Go to supermediabrospodcast.com to listen to past, present, and future episodes. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Buy some merch. Follow us on social media. All that shit. It's time to go into hypersleep, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
It's going to stasis.
Yeah, it's bedtime.
It is. That was Cult Cinema Showdown 77, Terminator 2 vs. Aliens, episode 180. Until next week, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okami.
Shades on.
Get out of here, bitches.